level.
Oh my God.
Oh.
Oh my goodness.
You again.
My apologies. Hold on. You are the legend.
I don't even know what you're talking about. Let's go.
Okay. Real quick before we start, Paul Dalio, I did his first film. Do you remember his first film? You were his mentor?
Yeah, Paul's one of my students in NYU Graduate Film School.
Yeah. He did Adam and Eve, rapping Adam and Eve. I was, so I think you saw that. I was Eve. That's a whole other sidebar. But let's get into it. Okay, Spike Lee, it is an honor to have you on. You are one of the greats. You are an Oscar winner, Emmy winner, BAFTA winner, legendary, just writer, director, Do the Right Thing, Jungle Fever, Malcom X, He Got Game, Inside Man, BlackKklansman, and your Knicks fan. First of all, how do you feel about where the Knicks were going? And do you have a friendship now with Timothée Chalamet?
I feel very confident about this coming season, especially with the injuries to two great players on the Pacers and the Boston Celtics. And I like to say, everybody understand, I don't want anybody to get hurt.
Yeah.
But injuries are part of sports. And Timothy or I Cool is a great, great actor. And we've talked about, besides basketball, we've talked about working together in the future. And also my son and my daughter and son, they all grew up together in New York City growing up.
That's amazing.
So they knew me before they knew my son and daughter before they knew me.
That's incredible. So you have a new film coming out.
It's
out on Apple. Denzel Washington, Jeffrey Wright. This is your fifth time working with them. What are the things that you guys learn from each other working on set? Because he's your ride or die.
Well, it's fifth time with the great invincible Denzel Washington, and it was the last film before was 19 years, which was Inside Man, and I didn't even know that break was that long. Denzel didn't know either until the journalist told us that. But the first day of this film was like Inside Man was yesterday. So nothing was lost. And over the years, we put together, I'm very proud of the films we've done, the 5 films we've done together. In order, Mo Better Blues, Malcom X, He Got Game, Inside Man, and now the latest from the dynamic duo, D and Lee, Highest to Lowest.
And what is the biggest thing that you guys have taken from each other? Because there's always this like alchemical, creative, artistic relationship that you guys develop. And what's the biggest lesson that you've learned from him and vice versa?
Well, the thing about it is that we don't talk about it. And everything we do is based upon love and respect.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not discussed, but it's how we act to each other, how we treat each other. Our families are very close. Our wives are close. Our children are close. So the foundation is love and respect. And when you have that as your foundation, all the other BS does not get in the way.
Mm-hmm. That sounds amazing. What was the one of the moments from working on set that made you laugh the hardest on this project, or is there any moment that stands out?
Well, I'm glad you asked that question, and it's one of the highlights of the film when Denzel's character, David King, a movie mogul, has a reputation of the best ears in the business, is in the studio with the character, a young unsigned rapper played by the upstart Ace Rocky. They go to battle, they have a rap battle. I mean, the thing that I love about that film, that scene, which lifted the whole film, is that it was not written that way. It was not written that way. It was not written the way. It was not performed the way it was written, and it's just so much better for these two gentlemen. It's like they're in a ring throwing haymakers at each other.
Yes.
And again, I don't repeat myself, just list the whole, when a scene is great, it lists up the whole film.
Yeah.
I've seen that again and again and again and again, because we've all seen movies where you love the movie, but there's a scene that's memorable.
Yeah.
Did the whole. Think of my brother Al Pacino, that film, Dog Afternoon.
Yeah.
Attica, directed by the great Sidney Lumet. It's the scenes that, you love the film, but you break it down, it's the scenes. There's scenes that memorable that lift the whole thing up. I'm a cinephile.
Yeah. Would you say that, like making films, from my experience, is alchemy, and sometimes you can come away from that experience completely changed? If
you're lucky.
If you're lucky, that's very true, because it doesn't always happen.
In a good way. You don't want it to be the other way.
That's true. No, not in the bad way. Not in the tower card is falling. But yeah. So, which films would you say, from your experience, has been your alchemy moment? That have forever changed you?
I would have to say the first film, She's Gonna Have It, my first feature film, because I did not know what I've known going further. But I put my feet down firmly in the ground, and mistakes were made. But it was my first film, and it led to the school days. The school days led to Do the Right Thing, and here we are many years later with The Highest and Lowest. So there's something about, I know it's a phrase been said many, many times, but there's a lot of truth that you learn from your mistakes, and you keep it moving. Don't wallow in those mistakes. Learn from those mistakes. Don't repeat those mistakes. And move forward.
What was the biggest, which mistake did you turn into something like your greatest superpower?
Well, I don't know about superpower, but is that particularly with She's Gonna Have It, I was in front of only reason why I played Mars was turn out to be a blessing. But we didn't have the money to pay anybody else. Mm-hmm. So it was really an act of desperation to get this film done. I mean, I did that film 3 years after I graduated from NYU Graduate Film School. So in the interim, when I was struggling, just to pay the rent. But I wouldn't change anything. I mean, all that is part of growth. Moving forward is part of life. You're going to have your ups and downs. But the secret is, when you're knocked down, you got to pick yourself up. Like you're in a fight, you're knocked down, your head is spinning, but you put your hands up on a rope and pull yourself up.
I mean, were you an athlete growing up? Because that's a very athlete.
I love sports growing up. And I wasn't the best athlete, but I was a so-called the spark plug. The spark plug, the rah guy.
Yeah.
That's not the best talent. Definitely not the best talent, but the rah guy. The
most heart.
The scrawny little light hitting second baseman.
That's amazing.
That would bat ninth in order.
So you're a truth teller, and like the great, artists of, all time, like let's say like Shakespeare, they would hold up a mirror to the world, to the kings and the queens, and they would be able to share their art. You're that kind of truth teller that holds up a mirror to society.
Well, I'm not no Shakespeare. Let's come down a little bit. Go ahead.
You're my Shakespeare.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
You're definitely, you've been so influential in the zeitgeist, in human consciousness. So like when we talk about Shakespeare, we talk about the human consciousness. And so your films are indelible to the human consciousness of just your uniqueness, the two dolly shot, the music that makes everything just amazing. Like you have your own fingerprint. When you're setting out to do one of these projects, are you always setting out to tell the truth?
Well, there's a lot of interpretations of the truth. I mean, Do the Right Thing came out. I was accused of being racist. Joe Mo Better Blues, I was accused of being anti-Semitic. I mean, this president of the United States, he says he's telling the truth.
Mm-hmm, 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 mm-hmm.
As troops have entered the nation's capital as we speak. So there's always been, I mean, that's part of history, you know, who's ever in power and what they're saying. Is that the truth or is it a lie? That's something that's been here for forever. But if you ask that question maybe a little differently, I would say I'm seeing in a lot of my films, it's the truth is how I see it, and I understand that people don't see it that same way. They've not had the experience that I've had as a Black man in the United States of America.
Yeah, but I think the reason why your films resonate because it hits such a chord. And so it speaks to so many people, you know, because it's like, you can't, I've always noticed where it's like, you're writing something on the page and you're speaking your truth, like what your experience is like a universal truth that's so relatable that everyone can, you know, regardless of what your identity is, we can all like, you know, go on the hero's journey and understand.
That is the hope.
You're
That's
right.
the hope.
My last quick question, over your career, like over the span of your career and, you know, the powers.
Next year, it's going to be 40 years.
What? That's incredible.
That's what I said.
That's incredible.
I didn't say what. What I said was WTF. The first word is what, but it's not the last two, not the T and F.
That's amazing. Wait, so when you have to go ahead, like against studio heads, financiers, they want a version of the film, but like, how do you fight for your version as an artist? How do you maneuver that, and how do you keep your vision intact?
Well, I've been very, very not lucky, but I'm able to have Final Cut. And even with Final Cut, the studios, the streamers still want to have their say. So it always comes down to a discussion. Mm-hmm. And they ask me why I'm doing this, and I would tell the truth and say, this is what it is. This is what it is.
That's amazing. Spike, you're amazing. Thank you. It is such an honor. Thank you for coming back on. Very, very, very much. Mwah.
Okay. Spread the word.
Spreading the word. Hell yeah.
Thank you. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
A whole nother level.